Is this a blue fragrance? Is this an oud fragrance? Is this a little bit of both? Let's find out together in this review. Hello, welcome back to Seldomly Often. I'm Daniel, today we're talking fragrances, and this is a practical review of Amouage's King Blue. These reviews are for fragrances I have a lot of experience with, multiple wears in many situations, and I'm meant to give you a general idea of what it feels to wear the fragrance. As per usual, I do a lot of research before buying fragrances, but I don't really like to go into details about notes and accords. I don't think that they help the end user. I'd rather talk about the wear experience as a whole. I try to sprinkle out my Amouage content throughout the channel a little bit at a time, and it's been quite a while since I did a full review from the brand. Today's choice is King Blue. This one here is a very beautiful fragrance. It's a little bit of a weird, misunderstood fragrance, but I like it because of that. The first time I decided to feature King Blue on this channel was actually in a first impression comparison video, the first one on my channel, where I paired King Blue against Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusive. I decided to pair those two very different fragrances together because of the notes and because of the perfumer. The notes for the two fragrances are very similar and they share the same perfumer. As you may suspect, or as you may know, if you smell the fragrances firsthand or if you've even watched the video, these two perfumes smell completely different one from another. Parfums de Marly Layton Exclusive is very mass appealing, very likable. It has a tiny bit of funkiness in the back, but it's so held back, it's so contained. It's still a very beautiful scent, very wearable. King Blue, on the other hand, in my opinion, is very challenging. It's a very particular scent. It has a very strong barnyardy oud component mixed in with a little bit of fruity freshness. This is a very particular scent exactly because it combines these two opposing factors. On one side, you get this fruity freshness, and on the other side, you get this feral, animalic, barnyardy oud with this fermented component. It's particular, it's challenging, it's definitely not for everyone. And if you've watched my first impression comparison video, you might know that my thoughts originally were a little bit mixed. I really did like the challenging aspect. I found the fragrance super unique and interesting, but ultimately it wasn't a love and I didn't end up purchasing it. That sample I ended up wearing throughout, and then I even got another sample. By the end of the second sample, the fragrance kind of just clicked. It made sense. I started understanding what it was about. And then eventually I got a bottle. I got it in a trade with my friend Nat. This one here is actually a partial. It's not full. It's somewhere between 75 and 50% full, but it's plenty for me. And once I got the bottle, I really started to wear the fragrance a lot and I started to enjoy it more and more. Now I really like it. And although it's still not my favorite Amouage by any stretch of the imagination, I really deem it a good fragrance. It smells unique, it smells challenging. You'll definitely stand out from the crowd. And once you get to grips with the specific scent profile and the very peculiar wear experience with all of its quirks, you'll realize that this scent is actually extremely wearable, very versatile. It can actually be a signature scent all year round. It's very beautiful, and as I said before, it will definitely have you stand out from the crowd. But we're going to talk about the scent profile and wear experience after we cover the presentation. When it comes to presentation, when talking Amouage, there's really no surprises. The products are extremely high-end. King Blue is part of the Opus collection, and I really love the look of these bottles. They're very specific. They have this matte finish. They feel stone. They look really good. Starting off with the cap. The cap, unfortunately, is the worst part of the presentation because although it feels solid, it has a little bit of weight to it, and it definitely has a magnet, which self-rents, by the way, and is super satisfying to click on. The cap itself is wrapped in a plastic material, and it feels a little bit different. It feels a little bit cheap. Specifically, it's a tactile feeling, more of a temperature feeling. When you pick it up, you're immediately realizing that it is plastic. It feels almost rubberized. It's a little bit different, and it definitely stands out from other Amouage metal caps. I really wish this was metal and maybe powder coated to have this satin look. Overall, it is what it is. It's still super satisfying to put on, and the plastic component at least feels very high quality. The Amouage atomizers are kind of mid. They spray well, they do the job, but they could be a lot better. In the past, I used to praise these atomizers due to their ability to spray high oil concentration fragrances, but ultimately, I've seen very cheap fragrances with really great atomizers. It is what it is. Again, I'm used to the atomizers. It could be a lot worse. Let's give this a couple sprays. And by the way, I've been wearing this as my scent of the day. It's a very potent fragrance. It's kind of office friendly. I'll get to that later down the road because the wear experience for this is very particular. And I was actually inspired to film this from a video by Curtis Nell. nose. Shout out to my buddy Curtis. He describes the wear experience for this very, very clearly. It's so accurate, and I'll be replicating a lot of what he said. Anyway, in the office, no one better than I. It just comes across as intense, yes, but it has this mystique about it. It's not stinky whatsoever. And this is actually fairly common with animalic fragrances. The funky animalic stench that you smell up close really dissipates in the air, and it has this mysterious, very attractive facet to it. King Blue is especially good at this because it mixes, again, the animalic component with the fresh fruitiness, which is very, very interesting. It's incredibly well done. Going back to the presentation of King Blue, as I said, it's part of the Opus collection and it carries the Opus collection color scheme, except it's inverted. And to showcase what I mean, let me grab my bottle of Royal Tobacco. This one here is the standard color scheme for the Opus collection classic line. And King Blue and Silver Oud are the only bottles that have this weird inverted look. Some of you have asked me, what if you put on the cap of Royal Tobacco onto King Blue? Does it look the part? Well, let's give it a try. And it does not look good because the colors are slightly mismatched. So I'm thinking that this King Blue actually has a little bit of a tinge of blue in it. It looks more gray. The cap for Royal Tobacco has this, again, it has a little bit of brown in it. Anyway, it doesn't look good. It looks a little bit weird. I do think that an all black Opus line bottle would look sick, but this is not the case. Let's return to the original cap. Back to the bottle, I really like this finish. It's super fingerprint resistant, it's really resistant in general, and despite the fact that this bottle has seen heavy use with not much care, as I said before, I got this secondhand in a trade, it's really holding up. These bottles, this finish is really, really resilient. The labeling is really pretty, it's golden, it really shines in the light, it looks the part, it looks luxurious. The logo also looks really good, it's satin and it perfectly matches the cap. Presentation-wise, I really can't say any bad things. It looks extremely luxurious. It looks extremely high-end. When it comes to pricing though, King Blue and Silver Oud, because they are part of the more exclusive collection from the Opus line, are very, very expensive. These fragrances are some of the more expensive from the Amouage collection as a whole, and they're basically priced on par with the exceptional extracts. They retail for over 500 bucks. Again, I was super lucky to get this in a trade. Thank you so much again, Nat. And if it wasn't for that trade, I'm not really sure I would have pulled the trigger on this. Anyway, Amouage is definitely available at discounters. You can purchase these at a greatly reduced price. So do your digging, do your due diligence, look for the best price. I feel that if you get this for around 200, 250 bucks, it's a pretty good bargain because it does smell very powerful, it smells high quality, and it does smell unique. And you might be thinking to yourself that 250 bucks is still a crap ton of money, but overall, this fragrance has insane longevity and you don't really need a lot of sprays, so this will last you a super long time. But it's time to talk about the wear experience and scent profile for Amouage King Blue. What does this actually smell like? Describing this fragrance is not simple at all. As I said before, it's a weird combination of freshness and barnyardy oudiness. The fresh aspect in here is deceiving. The name itself is deceiving. And this is the reason why this fragrance is so misunderstood in my opinion. In this case specifically, Amouage really dropped the ball with the marketing. The marketing, the brief, does not reflect the scent profile at all, in my opinion at least. This comes across as an oudi fragrance first and foremost. It's very, very animalic. It's very barnyardy. It has this fermented fruit aspect, which is probably kind of bridging the gap between the fresh top, but it's still jarring. This does not come across as oceanic or super fresh. It's not as wearable as Amouage may have you think it is. It's definitely not blue. If you're thinking blue as in bro blue, as in Bleu de Chanel, as in Dior Sauvage, this is definitely not that. The only possible connection to a blue fragrance that may come to mind is the heavy use of a certain aroma chemical, which is greatly boosting performance. This thing blasts off the skin, especially in the initial stages. It might be ambroxan, it might be something else, but it has this empty volume thing that I keep talking about, but the oudi component in here is greatly masking that. It's just covering everything up to a great degree. I like the scent, it doesn't bother me as much, but I do pick up on that flavor that I'm not necessarily a super fan of. So yes, let's get that straight out of the way. That was pretty much my only nitpick to the scent profile. I'm not a fan of that artificial synthetic compound. Otherwise, this fragrance smells super high quality, very, very luxurious, and just very rich in general. Let me try to break down the scent scent profile a little bit more because again, it's not easy to describe and it has a very specific wear experience that we have to tackle. When you first spray this on, and if you're a frag head, you know and will understand, you will get your nose close to the fragrance and you will be hit immediately by a heavy dose of Barnyardy oud with this fermented fruity aspect to it. I've actually really grown to like the opening even up close, but this is not how the scent is supposed to be smelled. In the air, the opening is completely different. That aroma chemical is pushing the scent off the skin, far off the skin. And in the air, the scent comes across as actually surprisingly fresh. It has a bright citrus note, it has a little bit of fruitiness, it's very, very playful. That oud is still detectable, but it serves as a contour to the fruits instead of the main protagonist. This is actually where my buddy Curtis really hit it on the head with his review. When you smell this up close, all you're gonna get is Barnyardy oud. Very thick, very oily, very rich and fermented. When you smell this in the air, you're gonna get a completely different scent. Very fruity, playful. The oud plays around with the fruits. It really gives the scent a lot of depth, a lot of staying power. And in general, these animalics give the scent a lot of body. They give the fragrance this aura of mystery. This is so captivating. It's so intriguing. It's so dense. It wears like a fog, and yet it's so playful at the same time. It stays a long time, and in the heat, it really radiates off the skin even more. It's beautiful and can be worn in definitely all seasons, summer, winter, anything in between. So in a way, this great difference between smelling the scent up close and far away is the main defining factor of King Blue. This had to click for me. It wasn't obvious at all. I'm a frag head, I tend to spray and get close, and I was like, this doesn't smell fresh at all. It doesn't smell oceanic at all. But if you wear this fragrance as a more normal person would, by spraying and forgetting, you will get all the benefits of King Blue. You will smell all of the facets, get all of the nuances, get all of that freshness. Paradoxically, as crazy as it sounds, this fragrance doesn't feel designed for a frag head, and yet it does feel designed for a frag head because it's very expensive, it's very exclusive, it features special materials. It's not necessarily something that would appeal to a normie. So I'm not really sure what Amouage was going for. Again, I feel that they dropped the ball on the marketing. They should have fine-tuned the idea a little bit more. This could have been a major hit. And even when it comes to the concept translating into the evolution of the scent profile, this thing comes across as remarkably simple. It's a little bit unusual for Amouage to put out something so generic, so nondescript. I really can't connect with the story or the brief. Again, I get no oceanicness, no specific freshness. This is very, very linear. It's very predictable, and that can be seen as a good thing. When you spray it on, again, you get those citruses in that synthetic ambroxany base with the oud. And as the scent dries down, as it usually goes, the citruses tend to evaporate. That synthetic compound goes with them, and then you're left with this oud, which becomes actually much more clean. The barnyardiness, that fermented aspect of the oud, is mainly present in the opening. As the scent dries down, it becomes more and more dry. Literally, the oud feels like dry wood. It has this almost bitter component to it. It smells a little bit more ashy, and it's very, very beautiful. Again, I really like the scent profile. I'm just not connecting with the imagery or the marketing. When it comes to tonal distribution, this scent actually sports and showcases a great dynamic range. You get high highs and rumbling bass and everything in between. It's very well designed in this regard. It almost feels like a designer scent. It's meant to be wearable, and it really showcases its wearability and versatility because this is really good for every season. In the summer, the fresh fruit top combined with the synthetic compound gives the scent a lot of energy, a lot of presence. This thing feels powerful. It feels radiating. On the base, that oudiness, when it dries down, it takes on this leathery, oily component, giving the scent a lot of body, a lot of density, aiding longevity and staying power in the winter. It's supremely wearable if you like the scent profile. If this clicks for you, this can be totally signature scented. And this is a stark difference to something like Silver Oud, another masterpiece by Amouage, one of my favorite fragrances ever. That one there is much more bassy, it's very, very bass heavy, and it brings me to this meditative aspect. This one here does not. This feels, surprisingly, more utilitarian. It feels designed to be worn every day. It's a weird feeling, especially coming from Amouage, especially coming from the more experimental Opus collection, the high tier of the Opus collection at that. I don't feel that this is redundant whatsoever with Silver Oud. The oudy component might have some things in common, but in my opinion, they have a completely different use case. This one here is a daily. Silver Oud is more of an occasional wear. It's a much more deeper, much more meditative scent. I really like them both though. But as we've been talking about use cases, let's segue right into practicality, starting off with performance. Longevity for King Blue is absolutely amazing. It's not as super long lasting as something like Silver Oud, but that is probably due to the fact that Silver Oud has some vanilla in the base, really prolonging the longevity. King Blue though is absolutely no slouch. You get a full days of wear, a very detectable wear, even in the deepest of dry down. The projection of this is actually very loud, especially after you just sprayed it. It's not necessarily something I would call room filling, but it's very detectable around you. Probably also due to the very specific scent profile. The wear experience in general, the wear curve, could be a little bit better tuned. I feel that the projection starts off super strong and then it just kind of falls off a cliff maybe after an hour. You can definitely pick up the scent profile in your personal space very, very easily, but it's not something I would call monstrous by any stretch of the imagination. The citruses evaporate quickly and the synthetic kind of follows suit. Come to think about it, I might be getting anosmic to that synthetic compound as the scent wears. I'm not really sure what's going on, but the wear experience for me is not super linear. It could be a little bit better tuned. And once the scent reaches the skin scent phase around the 3-hour mark, it stays there and it stays there for a super long time. I'm actually a big fan of the skin scent phase because you still have a lot of sillage. You really perceive the scent around you and the scent becomes dense, rich, oily, kind of ashy and dry at the same time. You get a little bit of leather component. It's really, really beautiful. And in the deepest of dry down, it actually kind of reminds me a little bit of Silver Oud. It's beautiful and beautifully well done. I just wish that the wear experience was a little bit better tailored. But going back to those use cases and versatility, as I mentioned before, I really think that King Blue is highly functional. You definitely have to like the scent profile though. It has this weird combination of this oudiness with the citruses, with the synthetic. It's not for everyone. But if this clicks for you, this can be signature scented all year round in pretty much every situation, day to night, casual to elegant, work or leisure. It just works surprisingly well, and if you can pull this off with confidence and without fussing over the barnyardy oud component, you'll be surprised of how likable and mass appealing this actually is. It smells unique, it smells different, it smells alluring and mysterious. It's very, very interesting. Funnily enough, I've even worn this to the gym, and one guy, after about an hour, came up to me asking me what I was wearing. He liked it, but he was a little bit confused. And when I told him what it was and how much it cost, he walked away fast, even more confused. Apparently, he was attracted to the smell of this in the air. I didn't really ask much else because he didn't seem to be into fragrances or not into these sort of fragrances, so I just left it at that. Needless to say, it worked surprisingly well in the gym. And as I said before, as your temperature rises, this starts blasting even more. It becomes really, really beautiful, at least to my nose. Demographics wise, this is a little bit of a weird one. It's very abstract and hard to categorize. I'm not necessarily comfortable in calling this masculine or feminine. It's a unique smell for sure. And if you're ballsy enough and confident enough to pull this off, by all means, have at it. It's a strange, confused release by Amouage that doesn't really feel at home in any place. And this drills down to the age in the same manner. It comes across as playful and fun, yet serious at the same time. I'm not necessarily sure who I would recommend this to. Again, it comes across as a release meant for frag heads, yet it's designed to be worn as a designer. It's a very, very strange thing. I think that if this clicks for you, regardless of the age, regardless of the gender, regardless of anything, wear it and be proud of it. It's really, really cool. Imagery and narration wise, Amouage usually stands out. King Blue is a little bit of a different story. As I said before, I'm not necessarily connecting with the story, I'm not connecting with the brief. This does not evoke anything. It comes across as a very perfumey perfume to me, very, very wearable. It's very versatile, and I can't connect anything to it. I'm really trying to look through the lines, I'm trying to give it a story, but nothing. This comes across as so nondescript, a little bit generic, and I feel a little bit sad about this because it doesn't evoke anything. I love wearing this even on a daily basis. I love the scent profile. I can easily push this into the background without thinking about it too much. I just wish there was a little bit more narration to latch onto, something to connect me to the scent. Unfortunately, it's not the case. Again, it's a versatile scent. Wear it like a designer, wear it like a perfume, and you'll be happy. It's time to talk about some options for a renewed fragrance. In the case of King Blue, I really wanted to go for powerful scents with a little bit of a combination of funkiness and fun factor. The first one that came to mind is another Amouage. This one here is Outlands. This is from the Essences collection, the much discussed Essences collection. This is easily the most popular from the line. This is a really exciting scent. It's super cool. It's perfumed by Cécile Zerogian, and this was a hit. It's an expensive scent, but I feel it kind of delivers in the quality department. It feels very, very luxurious luxurious, it feels high quality, it just feels like an Amouage. The opening of this is really cool. It does kind of remind me of King Blue. It's less barnyardy and more fruity. It still has citruses. It comes across as very, very dense. It's almost gourmand in its aspect. It's very mass appealing, likable. This thing, when you wear it, it's like mind-blowing. As I've discussed long and hard in my full review for Outlands, I absolutely love wearing this, except for the fact that it becomes a little bit fatiguing and cloying in the deepest of dry down. That vanilla sweet thing never goes away, for better or for worse. And if you're wearing this as a signature, you'll be happy because there's not much need to reapply. It's beautiful, and in my opinion, it really represents the modern Amouage. The SS's collection really works for me. Are they the most complex Amouages out there? Absolutely not. But they're fun, they're mass appealing, they're very exciting, especially Outlands. I highly recommend this, but get yourself a discovery set. This is definitely not blind buy safe, especially considering the price. The second fragrance that I want to showcase is one of my favorite edgy utilities. This one here is by Louis Vuitton and it's Nouveau Monde. This is everything that I wanted Ombre Nomade to be. It has a similar scent profile, very edgy, very mysterious, has a lot of character, but it's much more wearable. It's not as overwhelming, it's not as over projecting. Ombre Nomade was one of those fragrances that I loved, but I could never wear. It was just too much. This one here solves that in every regard. I love wearing this. I can put it on in pretty much every season, every situation. In a similar way to King Blue, it just comes across as high quality, luxurious, a little bit mysterious. I've worn this in pretty much every situation possible, many times at the office. Louis Vuitton has basically become my default utility brand. They're super good. Zero narration, zero storytelling, but these wear so well. The wear curve, the wear experience on this is absolutely perfect, perfectly tailored. Jacques Cavalier really did an amazing job on the Louis Vuitton fragrances. I feel that the brand really suits his personality, or rather, he manages to convey easy to wear fragrances which are still interesting, very sophisticated and classy. And when it comes to general performance, this thing does not disappoint. You get amazing projection, super longevity, especially on clothes. I sprayed this on my jacket a month ago and it still smells like that. I love wearing it. It's basically a dumb reach. And I'm not even into utility fragrances, but Louis Vuitton does them so well, they're basically a no-brainer. Try them out in a boutique, spray it on, give it time, form your thoughts, and then take it from there. The last fragrance I'll showcase is definitely the most niche. It's my usual oddball. This one here is Bortnikoff's Sayat Nova. This one, similarly to King Blue, showcases oud and fruitiness, but it's very different. The fruitiness in here is based on apricot. This scent is very dense, it's very heavy, it's almost gourmand. The apricot is photorealistic in typical Bortnikoff fashion. This smells so natural, so refined, so insanely high quality. It smells so high quality, in fact, that it puts most other brands, most other fragrances completely to shame. Unfortunately, the performance for this is also very natural. There's no real synthetic boosting compound in here to elevate the projection or the longevity, so it doesn't last a ton of time. What you get though is incredibly beautiful. It smells, again, natural. It smells well-made. It smells artisanal. It smells utterly unique. Is it expensive? Absolutely. Is it available at discounters? No. This is niche for niche. It's artisanal fragrances made with love, made with care. This is also kind of lacking a little bit of narrative. Bortnikoff is not the best at that, but this is so worth it. Or rather, not necessarily this. Get yourself a discovery set because they're so mind-boggling. If you haven't watched my video on the speed dating for the discovery set, do so. It's one of the best reactions I've ever had to any niche brand. They're so good. But back to Amouage King Blue for my final overview and recommendation. I like this scent. It's no secret. I like it and I wear it a lot. It's just such an easy wear. It's very versatile, very functional. It's actually surprisingly likable and mass appealing, but you have to wear it as intended. You have to spray and forget. You have to wear it like a designer. And this is where it kind of all falls apart. This has no narrative whatsoever. It comes across as a little bit confusing. The brief is misleading. I'm not really sure who this fragrance is for. It's beautiful. I like it. It smells high quality. It smells luxurious, but you really have to be a fan of the house to really appreciate this. And even then, it doesn't click right away. You have to wear it and you have to kind of accept it for what it is. It's a strange release and it's actually really hard to recommend. I understand what Amouage was going for, but I think that they missed the mark and they got lost in confusion. The brief got lost in the confusion. It's priced weird. It's targeted weird. It's not really for anyone, yet it's for everyone. It's very very different. I like the scent. It smells unique and it wears unique. I actually think it's one of the more unique releases by Amouage in recent years. Is it the best Amouage? Is it my favorite Amouage? No, by any stretch of the imagination. But actually, I can totally see myself wearing the whole bottle or whatever's left in here just because it's so functional, so versatile, so likable and mass appealing. It totally scratches that itch of oud while still giving me a scent which is not too fatiguing and not too complex. I can put this on and forget about it. That's the magic of King Blue. Is the retail asking price worth this use case? In my opinion, not really. It smells high quality, smells luxurious, but over $500 for a fragrance to be worn every day with almost zero narration is a big no for me. I do suggest sampling it though, especially if it sounds interesting. Get yourself a library collection discovery set. All of the other fragrances in there are absolutely incredible, especially Silver Oud. You will not regret it. And if you like King Blue, wear it, be satisfied. I like it. Again, I happen to get this in a trade. Very, very lucky to do so, and I will be wearing this. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend it as a blind buy. Definitely not as a blind buy. You have to understand what this is. If you read the notes, if you read the brief, and you're expecting a freshie, this is not that. Sample first, definitely wear it on skin, and take your time with the decision. If by the end of it you still like it, by all means, King Blue is really, really great, super functional. You'll definitely be smelling unique. If you like this type of content, if you like my approach to video, feel free to subscribe. It's always massively appreciated and it helps the channel. If you want to interact with me, leave a comment, suggestion, opinion, or anything else down below. I always reply and I always keep the conversation going. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. Let's never take it for granted. Many more reviews to come, many more fun fragrances to showcase. See you in the next one and cheers.